Okay, we're back, and we are live talking rock with you on this Wednesday. It's Eddie Trunk, and this is Trunk Nation on SiriusXm 106 Volume. Been a little bit since we spoke to this guy. Looking forward to doing so. He, of course, is the leader of Megadeth. You know him, you love him. Here is Dave Mustaine joining us right now. Hey, Dave, how you been, man?
Hey, Eddie, I'm great, man. I am so fired up and ready to get going. It's only a matter of days now where we're under the week limit, talking about Metal Tour of the Year, of course.
Yeah, April 9th, resuming in Vegas. You, of course, did a run of this already, Dave, which went well, I would imagine, by all measure. How'd you feel about the first run doing it?
I thought it was really great. There's a lot of variables that make one run with the same lineup successful versus going into a different type of a building and it being more successful. I'm talking about playing in the sheds and amphitheaters. Last time we went out with the Metal Tour of the Year package, and it was fantastic. And there has been times in the past, all three of the bands that I've played with on this tour, we've all played together, and for some reason the chemistry right now is just over the top, and people are just loving the way this tour is going. There is a slight change because In Flames is picking up where Hatebreed left off, and boy, that was great to see Jamie out there every day, have a good time.
Yeah, so I know you've got Trivium on most shows, you've got In Flames on most shows, and of course it's Megadeth and Lamb of God as the headliners. As far as the actual bill coming together, Dave, was it your idea to put these bands on the package, or how did the initial idea for doing this come together and the selection of the bands?
Well, I'd like to take credit for it, but I can't. I think it's a lot of it is we're all on from the same stable of entertainment with the management. I'm managed by 5B, and so is Lamb of God, and Trivium is managed by somebody that's at 5B, and I think In Flames is managed by Alan Kovac, if I remember right or not. But the person there was a former 5B person, so it's kind of like a cool package where we're all together and going out and having all of our bands play together because we feel like they're a cool fit with one another.
And the thing when I look at the bill, and it's crazy when it comes to In Flames. I actually about 5 years ago toured Mexico with Deep Purple, and believe it or not, the opening act was In Flames. And I spent a lot of time with those guys on the road, but that was a really interesting pairing, as you could imagine, a band like In Flames opening for Purple's audience. But it worked in a place like Mexico. But when you look at this bill for you guys, everything's connected in the fact that it's all metal and it's all heavy and it's all great, but every band seems to bring a little bit different thing to the table. You guys being, of course, the veterans, the legends at the top of the bill, and I'm sure all those other bands very much being influenced by you. But I think what's cool about it is I think all of them have slightly little different fan bases that if you go to this show and you watch all the bands, everyone might get turned on to another band or see or hear a band that they might not normally have gone to. Do you agree with that? Are you seeing that?
I do. I think that there's always going to be a little bit of some cross-pollinization, if you will, of one band to another. And even if the bands aren't really having a great show, I think just the atmosphere with a metal event, people they go home in a good place, and maybe they don't remember a single song, but they remember the name of the band, and I'm going to check out that band. Those guys opened up the show for Megadeth and Lamb of God, and I want to see them. What's their name again? And then they go check them out, and then you end up going, come on, these guys are killing it. You know, one of the bands that I had a friend of mine turned me on to recently in the last few years that I really dig on is Mustache, and you know, we've not been able to work out touring with them ever, but you know, that to me is a band that I would love to have come over here in the States and people get a chance to look at them. You know, I'm not trying to promote another band, but I'm just saying, you know, how fun it is when you're out on the road and you come across some of your old buds and they do like you and I used to do back in the day with the tape trading and, you know, hey man, what are you listening to nowadays? Oh, really? Check this out. Oh, no shit, these guys are great. You know, and you just that's one of the things I love the most about back in the day when you would discover a really cool new song. And I've been having a lot of just, you know, memories of when I would discover super heavy songs on records for the first time, and I would pick that song to cover and panic back when I was you know, choosing different cover songs to play. So a lot of that really helped carve how I am as a musician. And you know, I love that. I don't know that there's a lot of people that get that experience anymore where they sit down with a record and they listen to it all the way from one side, you know, to the other, or, you know, a CD from beginning to end, DVD beginning to end, whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. I mean, that's why I've been doing this 40 years, is to just share and expose people to other music, whether it's old stuff or new stuff. And you've always done that. You've always been about that in your career. I mean, I think back to when you started Gigantor and when you put that bill together. I mean, that was always that was a very eclectic bill. It was new bands. It was in my opinion, a band that's been somewhat underrated in Overkill, who had been around forever, and then you had new young bands on there. So that's really been your MO, is to not is at your core you're still a fan of this stuff, and you love that opportunity to use your platform to expose other people to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah, it's absolutely been something that's been a theme throughout your history, I think. Dave, tell me about the band now. How has it been having James Lomenzo back in on bass?
Well, James, as you know, Eddie, friend to the stars, and you.
Oh, I've known James forever, forever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, shit, man, you know him longer
Decades.
than I've known him, better than I know him, and are more. You have more in common with him than I do, and it's you could say how's James Lomenzo doing, but for me I'm thrilled. I think he's a really awesome person to have in Megadeth. He was when we tried it the first time, and you know, for whatever reason that things happen, and you know, we took a little sabbatical from playing, and when thing happened as they did, it was obvious to it was obvious to me that I needed to get a super kick-ass bass player to come in and cut all the tracks and you know, learn them in relatively no time, because we were in the studio already, and so I needed to get somebody that could really do all that stuff, and I hadn't made up my mind about James yet. So I'll tell you, I ended up asking a super legendary bass player in the metal community, DiGiorgio. Do you know
Steve?
You know who I'm talking about? Yeah, Steve.
Yeah.
I asked him if he would come in and guest on the record and help me to finish the record and cut bass parts. And so he came out, and that was really wonderful to hear his interpretation of my songs and the stuff that Kiko and Dirk and I have the stuff that we're starting to write together. We're starting to really develop a chemistry, and I like it because there's elements with Dirk in his writing that obviously remind me a lot of Gar, but he's actually a really good rhythm guitar player too, and that reminds me a lot of the P-Cells era, because each one of the guys grew up with a different era of Megadeth, and so they've all got their Megadeth. Like Chris Adler had said to me once before, this is my Megadeth, and I don't know. I think you're going to be surprised when you hear this record, Eddie.
Well, when are we going to hear it, Dave? Where's things stand? What's the status?
Well, geez, if I could, I would let you play it right now. And in fact, I know that we have a track that we just did. We showed up on something that Lamb of God wanted to do, something honoring me and the track "Wake Up Dead," and so they did that song and asked if we wanted to show up on it too, and do some soloing and some singing and stuff, and so we all agreed. Kiko, Dirk, and James and myself all sang, and I don't remember Dirk. Dirk and James did not play their instruments; they just sang. But Kiko did a solo and sang as well.
So this is Lamb of God did a cover of "Wake Up Dead," and you guys guest on it.
Yes.
And that's as far as
that's. Go ahead. You should be able to play that. I think our management. If I'm not mistaken, I think that the track has been sent to you guys already. I think it's been serviced. So you might want to just ask your PD there or your show manager to check and see.
Yeah, we'll look for it for
sure. Really cool things too. As far as when is it going to drop? We know that the whole entire thing is scheduled for July 8th, and the hopes are that we stay on schedule with that. And I know that we've got a single that is going to be serviced to radio any day now. It's a song called "Killing Time," and it's obviously about somebody in my past, but it's not as obvious as it sounds. It's like wasting your time, not time to kill things, and it had to do with some of the situations that myself and different band guys have gotten themselves into with the band over time, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to relate with that. So that one is going to be sent to radio, any day now. So you should probably have that one coming around too.
Well, great. So that means a new single for the start of the tour, which again for Metal Tour of the Year, the next run April 9th, starting in Vegas. That's of course the minute we get it, we'll play it. We'll look forward to sharing it. Do you think you'll do it live? Are you going to try to put it in the set?
Well, if I can, I'll tell you something I haven't let anybody know yet. I talked to somebody. I talked to one of your old friends, yours and mine, Mr. Metal himself, and told him a little bit, but I didn't tell him some of the details. So I'm going to tell you right now. We have this track called Night Stalker, and we're hoping to use that as our new opening track. And we none of us are together yet, so we haven't had a chance to sit down and start getting all the hiccups worked out of the track, other than when we were in the studio together. But that once we use that for our opening track, it's got some sounds in it that is something we're going to incorporate into the beginning of our show, and it's a track that we have my buddy Ice-T had guested on, and there's two songs on the record that had guest appearances, and that's Ice-T's performance, and then I had Sammy Hagar sing on a track, "This Planet's on Fire." We did a
are
cover
you
track.
serious? That's awesome.
Yeah, and
I know that song. I
Sammy,
mean, I'm a big Sammy fan, and he's a friend, and I just saw him the other day. Actually, he didn't tell me that, but that's a heavy song. That is so cool that you did that.
It's a super heavy song, and the good thing about this is, Sammy, we didn't just do the song. He played on it too. So we've got a little bit of some guitar. We got a lot of bit of singing, and I think it's super badass. And then the other thing that we've got going on this record, we did two cover tracks. "This Planet's on Fire" is the one, as we just were talking about, and the other one is a Dead Kennedys track. It's no secret I'm a big Dead Kennedys fan, and I had wanted to do Holiday in Cambodia, but my friends in Lost Rocket had done that, and I felt that there's kind of just let them have the glory off of that rendition of that song, and if the time comes, I'm sure there's another song that'll stick out to me, and it was the song "Police Truck." So we recorded that one, and it would have been great to have Jello do some appearance on the track, but I think that it's a Megadeth record. It's not it's not like the royalties check cashing line.
Right.
Everybody's showing up to do their couple two three words.
You've always picked amazingly cool covers to do. I love when you did "Cold Sweat," which wouldn't be the obvious Thin Lizzy song for a lot of people to think, and then of course all the way going back to all the covers you did early on, "No More Mr. Nice Guy" or "Anarchy in the UK." I mean, it's always cool to hear your take on some of these songs, but I can't wait to hear the Hagar, you and Hagar on that together. That's awesome. He's amazing. I just saw him the other day, and it's inspirational to see how good that guy still is now in his mid-70s. His attitude, his spirit, how well he can still sing and perform. It's amazing, man. That guy amazes me every time I see him. His whole it's always just full of fun and like, hey man, let's go, let's do it. And for a guy that's been doing it over 50 years, it's remarkable. It really is.
Yeah, I feel the same. The guy is just ready to go.
He always is.
When I talked on the phone to him, it was super energizing. Hey man, Super Megadeth, what's up, man? And I was thinking, like, you know what? He probably hates saying that word, Dave.
So Dave, just for clarity here, single any day, the record in July, and Steve DiGiorgio's plays bass on the record, but live you'll continue to use Lomenzo. That's how that's going to work?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all great, man. We can't wait to hear it. And I also know, and I saw a note on your website, you're doing a live chat sort of thing on Cameo on Friday in advance of the tour. Anything you want to mention on that to get the word out on it?
It's just something that I do every once in a while. There'll be stuff where we either we'll talk with the fans on private direct calls and stuff like that, or they can request videos from myself where I can tell people happy birthday or go fuck yourself. So for me, I think that's what you're talking about. As far as any kind of a live cameo where we're talking about the tour, there's been so much press that I've done in the last couple of days. It's been obviously no press for several years, as per usual, but now that we're getting ready to go, they've released the hounds, and I've forgotten how much there is to talk about. First couple of interviews,
how about
like, well, let me think about that.
and how about the beer stuff? Are you still rolling out the different brews?
Well, see, that's one of the things that's great about this business, and when you do things and you've got a good reputation. We went to Unibrew up in Canada and selected that company because we felt that they were a good company, and we got a deal with them. It was for quite a long period of time, and that's expiring. I think in a couple more months, and we're going to be looking for a new company to manufacture our beer. Of course, with the wine, we were doing that on our own, and when that's something where you have juice that you import and you bottle. You can bottle it anywhere and sell just about anywhere and get your grapes anywhere as long as they taste right. And I'm the one who really gets behind the tasting of the different liquids and stuff. I love the taste of cold beer when it's hot and that was one of the things I loved about our beers, because they were saisons, which were the summer refreshment blends that the Belgian monks would make for themselves during the really bloody hot summer months, and so yeah, we're wrapping things up with Unibrew, and we're going to be looking for something back down here in the States now, because there was a lot of stuff that just really restricted us from growing to what we wanted to do, because they were a Canadian company, and us being an American band that was an international success. You've got people sending you these really helpful messages. Hey, my friend on the corner has a bar and he says he can sell your beer. And for me, I think to myself, well, that's great if we had distribution down here, but it's a little company from Canada. And when we set out to do this, we had no idea it was going to be so successful. So we're hoping this carries on in the States, but if not, it's just another feather in our cap for things done and done well.
And last question, Dave, and I'll let you go. I'm curious, when you touched on it just a few times here already about the different people that have been in Megadeth over the history of the band. There's been a number of different people in various lineups since you started the band and founded the band way back when. In your initial vision for Megadeth, did you hope and think that maybe, and would your preference have been that it stayed the same guys the whole time? Or do you think, in retrospect, having all these different people who've been in and out of the band and making various contributions has been a benefit to you? Do you feel it's kept the thing recharged and refreshed? Or would you have preferred if it could have always stayed the same four guys the whole time?
Well, what I think the answer is, it's a very complicated answer to a really simple question. For me, what I probably would say the short answer is have the same people the whole time, the ones that I've grown to love the most and that are the easiest to get along with, that have the most common view to mine, and have guys that are willing to constantly improve themselves. One of the things that we do backstage, Eddie, I know you've seen this with me. We've been friends for so long, and there's been so many concerts we've hung out backstage. Part of my routine for your listeners is before we go on stage, we have the crew guys come backstage, and before we hit the deck, and we go over a couple songs each night. It's a couple different songs. We change the set list hopefully every night, but we're constantly in review. So once we get to the very last song, Holy Wars, and we've gone over that with our sound man and our engineers and so on, we start all over again. And I think that's something that if we had the same guys the whole time for familiarity and security and steadiness for the fans, and they were constantly trying to improve themselves, that would be the perfect scenario.
Well, listen, man, I look forward to seeing you. Everybody check out the Metal Tour of the Year. You can get all the dates and information at metaltouroftheyear.com or go to the Megadeth website. Everything is there as well. And Dave, my friend Doug is the promoter of your show in Tulsa on April 30th, and he's brought me out to host that. So I'll see you in Tulsa because they've got me on board to host that one, and I'm really excited about it. And I can't wait to see you and the guys, and I can't wait to hear the new music.
That's great. I'll be super happy to play it for you. It's funny too. Whenever I think of Tulsa, one of the running jokes with our crew back when we first went there was what Tulsa was backwards.
Tulsa backwards.
So.
Slut.
Yeah.
I go to Tulsa all the time. I never got that.
Yeah, it was funny. Anyways, buddy, well, I'm looking forward to seeing you, and thanks for letting me have a chance to say hello to everybody out there in Radio Land.
All right, man. Great to see you as well, or great to talk to you, and I'll see you in Tulsa on April 30th, if not before. Have a great tour.
You got it.
All right, see you, Dave.
See you. Thanks, Eddie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There's Dave Mustaine, everybody, checking in here on Trunk Nation. Appreciate some time with Dave as usual, and great to get caught up with him and some interesting stuff in there. We got some great stuff out of that conversation. First of all, Tulsa backwards doesn't spell slut, does it? What does Tulsa backwards spell? Was that what he was saying? Us slut.
Yeah, it does.
It does. I just wrote it down.
I did the same. I had to write it down.
I had to write it down too, but I was right off the top of my head because wait a minute, it ends with an A, but it's a slut. I've been going to Tulsa for like almost 20 years. Not quite, but almost 20 years. And it's one of the places I go all the time and do so much stuff at. And I never heard that before. But leave it to Dave Mustaine. A slut. Well, no offense to the people of Tulsa, of course, but I never knew that ever. All right, well, I'm looking forward to being in Tulsa and seeing that show on April 30th. That's at the BOK Center. Wherever you are in the country or where you may be going, you can find the date, as I mentioned, metaltouroftheyear.com or on megadeth.com. And we're going to talk more about this tour because the other headlining act on it is Lamb of God, and Randy from Lamb of God is going to be joining us in a matter of minutes at the top of the hour, as a matter of fact. So we'll continue covering and talking about this tour, which is kicking off in about 9 days or so. We'll be right back after this break with more on Trunk Nation, and Randy Bly of Lamb of God on the way as we wrap up with Dave Mustaine. Coming right back.